'67 was your first year. Then how long after that did you jump?
Then '68 I went to Grangeville. In '69 I returned to Grangeville. In 1970, the FMO over here on the Helena had graduated from the university with me, and they were putting together the IR crew, and he asked me to come over and be the crew boss. So I was the crew boss for the first IR crew out of the Helena here. And we got it up, we got it established, and I said, well, I want to go back and jump another year. I was trying to hit 50 jumps. I didn't make it. I got to 49.
Did you get through it without getting hurt?
No. I got dinged pretty good. I went with a booster crew down in Silver City, and we do a lot of that stuff where we'd follow a squall line and then jump out. So there was a lot of high wind, a lot of squirrely stuff in that country. When I was second man out, so I was short, and I didn't run far enough to get back in the eddy on the back side of the ridge. So I went in pretty hot, and I was going in backwards and couldn't see much. And I hit a foot go down in a gopher hole, which means I couldn't roll, and just tore up an ankle really bad. And I landed so hard, of course, I was locked to the ground on one end and then just flopped over. And I hit so hard that it knocked me out. I was unconscious. I don't think very long, but the first thing everybody wants to do is get that mask off, and get that helmet off. And when I did that and I lifted it up, well, the blood just poured out of the helmet. It split my scalp, and scalp wounds bleed, like crazy. And I was trying to be real rational about it, and I said, well, okay, I got to stop that. So I reached down through all my jump gear, and I got out a big handkerchief, and I tied this big old red handkerchief around my head. I must have looked like a girly man or something. So I hit that on, and I got out of my gear, and I knew that ankle was in bad shape. So I made myself an emergency splint outside my boot. It just splintered around my boot. And then the only thing that I could think about was that if I was this banged up, my jump partner was in worse shape. And I couldn't hear him, and I started hollering for him, and I found a stick, and I just hobbling along. Pretty soon I could hear some chink, 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 he was working the fire. And I hollered out, and he stopped and looked, and here I was with a big bloody rag. A split on this foot, and I'm hobbling up. I said, are you okay? Yeah. He said, you sit down. He went over and got the radio and called a helicopter. I don't know how long I waited for the helicopter. But I remember it was one of those, it was a French helicopter, and the pilot sat in the center, and the passengers sat on either side of him. Dog, come here. I'm going to put you out if you're not good. Stay there. Sit down. Good girl. Down. Stay. And I don't know how long the flight was. Dang, I didn't know that. And we went into the OR room. Doc gave me a shot. I don't remember much of that.
Was that the last jump?
No.
Oh, you jumped after that?
Yeah. I continued to jump. No, I got hurt a couple times. The first time I got hurt was after training. They found some work for us, and we were doing some cleaning up on a clear cut. Late in the day, the whole home light saw, before chain breaks and all that modern stuff on there. got the tip down in the brush. It backed up on me and put my hand up and went bang, bang, bang. You know, it hit me 3 times. Joe Krober was supervising me at that point. So I grabbed that hand and I went like this, and I said, oh, good. I didn't cut any bones, you know, but it just lacerated the heck out of me, cut through my work gloves. And so I'm holding this, and the blood's running out through my fingers, and I walked up to the road, and Joe's up there, and I said, Joe, I got cut. And I want you to get the first aid kit out, and I want you to get some 4x4 glass. We're going to need to bandage this up. And then I want you to take one of the canteens. We had those flat canteens at that point. I said, split it in half so that I can just use it as a splint. And you just lay that over there so that I don't move this wrist a lot. And then we'll put some elastic bandage around to hold the whole thing together. And about the time they got all that done on me, the word was put him in the pickup with somebody else and Krober take him into the hospital. I was kind of shocky. I was kind of tired anyway, you know, and so I kind of dozed most of the way in. Don't remember the surgery, you know.
Well, it's a darn good thing you were a medic, man. You really needed help.
I was a walking accident. The fun. Now this story goes on for a long time. So the next day I woke up and I was hungry and I was doing better, and I was like, "You got to let me get out of here." And I got out and I went back out to the base, and they put me to work in the loft. And I'm still working with this thing. Well, it was a hot season. The fire calls kept going, "Roga, roga," you know, and the guys kept going, and my name kept getting closer to the jump list. And then they were jumping around my name. And I went to Earl and I said, Earl, the project superintendent, I said, Earl, you got to get me on that aircraft. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, they're jumping around me. Yeah, I got to get out on this fire. I'm going to put this dog outside. Wasn't going to let me go, but I just kept bugging him, and he put me off for a whole day, and I just kept ragging on him the next day. And finally, maybe 2 o'clock in the afternoon, they got a two-manner up on Eagle Rock, which is about 3 miles from Moose Creek, back in the Selway Wilderness. I got suited up just fine, but I couldn't get my jump glove on it. I mean, I had all this big bandage around this hand. So they fussed around in there, and they came up with an old white mule glove, you know, a big old heavy work glove with a big gauntlet on it. And they pulled that thing on. So there I was with, you know, I had a soft deerskin jump glove over here, and I had this big club over here.
Turn in one direction.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I couldn't feel anything, couldn't close my hands, so I was steering with one of and then it's just crazy. To do that was just nutso. And of course I was second man out again, and I didn't run far enough again, and you know, there's get to be a pattern with this thing. And I wound up in the top of this damn snag, and I had to make a letdown.
Jeez.
On and on. Small fire, and we put out the fire, stayed on that night, and checked it again in the morning, and it was cold and it was out, so we packed up and packed down out of there. And I was just weak as a kitten at that point. 2 days out of the hospital, I had 80 stitches in this hand, you know, and all that physical demand of that kind of work. And we got down on the Selway, and we were about a mile from Moose Creek, and we just had decided that we we're gonna carry our gear in, we weren't gonna drop it on the trail, we'd just carry it on in. It was, after all, it was only 3 miles. And it was only 100 pounds, so, you know, but I stumbled and I fell in on all fours, and I'm just exhausted. And my jump partner turned around and came back and he said, you know, there's snakes down there.
Yeah.
So I got up and we walked in, and you know, and that's just kind of the way that it went. I mean, just stuff like that.
Well, over those years,